there's a saying that says that money can't buy happiness. And I don't know if the people who say that are the people who hate money, or who are just wise and live long enough to know. But the question here is, and I was thinking about this thing because I was watching a video of a bunch of people who won lottery, you know, and they all won the lottery, and it made their life miserable instead of making their life better. And the moral of that story was, from seeing all these people, was that money can't buy happiness. And my opinion on that is that it's true. Tell me what you think in the chat. Do you believe that money cannot buy happiness? And if money cannot buy happiness, do you prefer being poor or modest? Imagine if you had the choice between, and it's interesting the way people give you the choice. They always will give you the choice between being poor and happy and having a family that supports you even if you are struggling and only eating bread and water, or you're rich but you're miserable. And then they will always give you the examples of, you know, I know he's this billionaire and he's poor and lonely and whatever. Let us define money first. And to me, it was interesting. It was an interesting conversation because, listen, when I say money, I mean just money, like just whatever people call rich. You can have let's say you have, instead of having 1,000 in the bank or 800 in the bank, you know, you say, what type of money are we talking about here? I'm here for the paper or the goods? I agree. It doesn't buy it, but it helps you to have happy moments. But the thing is this to me. Money doesn't buy happiness. That's true, right? But why do we need to tell people that money doesn't bring happiness? Is it because the people believe that if they had more money, they would be happy? I believe that being happy and having money are two different things. I believe that you can have all the money in the world and be happy as long as you do the right choices in life. I believe that the more money you can have, the more freedom you have to do a lot of bad choices, right? So it's up to you to do the right choices, because I think a lot of people that have a lot of money and are not happy, I don't think this lack of happiness comes from having a lot of money. I believe that this lack of happiness is just not being around the right people, maybe just being lonely, or maybe, and I'm not saying that there's no correlation between the two, because you can have a lot of money, and because you have a lot of money, act a certain way, and it can go to your head, and maybe you can change your group of friends, and or maybe you can just be tired of everybody asking you for something, and it makes you miserable, or it makes you more lonely, right? But if you have a good education and you are a happy person in general, and you have the right people around you, I believe that if you win the lottery, it's not going to change the people around you. Let me give you an example about the way I feel personally for me. Let's say I win the Euro Million lottery that is happening these days for 230 million. I'm not gonna stop doing Club Shada. I'm not gonna stop doing this show. I'm gonna buy myself a house where I'm gonna have my own place where I can continue doing this show, because I'm not doing this show for the money. I'm doing the show to express myself, to have conversation with people, etc., etc. All these reasons that you know. So if I do this show not for the money, because actually, if I stop doing this show today, my YouTube channel will continue to generate 2, 3, 4,000 euros every month, just because of all the content that has been in there for the last 10, 15 years. So I'm doing this because I want to continue to having conversations. I want to continue to express myself. And I want to continue to have an avenue and I want to make it an interesting business as well, that maybe one day will generate great income, right? But from my music, I make way more money. Or maybe from one show, I can make all the money of a YouTube channel that generates for a month. But because I understand in my state of mind how you make money from all these different places, if I had millions, I would not say to myself, I'm too rich to do Club Shada. I would just say to myself, oh, listen, I'm going to do Club Shada on steroids. I'm going to do it something nicer. Or maybe I'm going to have 5 cameras or 2 cameras or 3 cameras, and maybe I can have an assistant that can come, and whenever there's an episode of Club Shada, he prepares everything for me, the cameras, the this, the that, and while I'm shooting the videos, while I'm talking to you guys, he's just changing the different cameras. Or whenever I need to talk about the information, look for wildfires and stuff, he can find the information for me already and have all the images ready, and while I'm talking, he's going to display it like an assistant, an editor that would do that. It may be that after I'm done with my episodes, soon as the show is finished, I have another person that is cutting the episodes into all the different parts that are going to be sent to the YouTube channel, and maybe doing also vertical videos from them that all week are going to go to my TikTok, to my Instagram, to all the different places. And maybe I can have a community manager that do all this for me, and I can pay those people to free me and free my mind for doing other things, recording songs, doing this. And you can just, when you are like me and you have more vision than time, and you have to choose the things you do, because you cannot humanly do all the things you have in your head. You can start giving those ideas to different people that will execute on some of your ideas, as you can concentrate on the things that you have to do. And for me personally, that's what money would do to me if I had 10 times the money I'm making today. And it would personally make me more happy, because the same way Master Electronic said, define money, I would say another thing, define happiness. Because a lot of people, when they want to define happiness, they want to define a happiness the way they see it, not the way you see it. Maybe happiness for one person is to just walk around naked whenever they want in your big house. And maybe for somebody, happiness is raising your kids and being in love with somebody and having your family around you. But what if you're a lonely person? What if you don't like people in general? What if, like, not you don't like people, but look, personally, I don't like to have people in my house. I like to see people outside of my house. Not because it's just that people who think like me don't like to have a lot of noise and a lot of clutter. That's why people like Steve Jobs would live in places that are the most empty possible. If one day I buy my house, you would be able to see the rooms that my wife used, because it would be messy and full of all the things she used, and my rooms would be white and full of nothing, because too much visual information can tamper with my brain. And for me personally, what makes me, I don't know if happy is the word, but what makes me happy, I'm gonna use that word. What makes me happy is knowing that my kids' expenses for school, for stuff, and the house, everything is done. This is something that stresses me when I'm like, oh damn, I have to pay this, that. This stresses me. You remove that stress from my life, and I'm like, I feel with less stress, thus more happy. If I get a house the way I want it, I don't need to live in a 1,000 meter square house. But if I get a good 200 meter apartment, that's huge. If I get a good 200 meter or 150 or whatever with 4 bedrooms, and I have my own office and etc., and this is mine, and I can put huge 100-inch TVs everywhere, this is my happiness. If I ask my wife, what is happiness for you? She will tell me something completely different. She will tell me having my little sister with me always, being with my brothers and sister, the kids, family, cooking for everybody, being there, making noise, playing Uno, and etc., having my friends around, my cousins, traveling here and there, going to Bali, all these things. Personally, I don't care about none of these things. When I go to Bali or those places with her, it's for her. It's not for me. It's for us, but it's not my thing. Being here talking to you guys make me way more happy than doing nothing on a beach on Bali. So happiness is something that is personal. That's why I don't like these expressions, because actually those expressions are actually more there you go, bitch. Damn, this thing is not dying. Fuck. No, it did not. That was weak, K. I'll get you, don't worry. This is why I don't like these expressions, because to me, wait. Dun-dun. Damn, where is he? Bastard. You're lucky. I was about to Calvin Klein you. Anyway, it's the summer. It's a hot summer. Insects everywhere. As I was saying, personally, to me, happiness is so personal for each people, and the people who come to you and pretend to you that money doesn't make happiness are the people who are trying to judge you into wanting more money for you. They're probably the same people who are telling you that, yo, you don't need X amount to live. All you need is this and this. Like, everybody needs 2 rooms, that's enough to live, or whatever. And yeah, those probably the same people who tell you that you don't need to take a shower. You need to take only, you guys love to take showers every day and use all the waters. Those people are the... La différence c'est que toi tu n'es pas live. Those people are the same people who will tell you that you only need to wash your body 2 times a week to preserve the water and whatever. That people who love to judge other people. You don't need to do all this. Listen, personally, if I had a lot of money, I wouldn't be... I mean, from time to time, it's cool. Take your family on a nice boat and do a tour. Like, experiences. That's amazing to be able to provide experiences for your family. But personally, this is not what happiness is to me. The idea that you can do things even if you don't do them and you don't go crazy on them are, for me, part of happiness. But it's because I'm a doer. Some people want to enjoy life, whatever. I like to build things. You know, there's a lot of ideas that I had during my career and I could not do them because I didn't have the money to do them. And the people I talked to about the ideas were idiots. So it was frustrating. And if I had lieutenants, people that whenever I had an idea, something for the future, something to build, something to help artists, or even those conversations I had with those people in those places back then, to tell them, hey, listen, I believe that there's a better way to protect songs, and we can use the blockchain, and we can do this and that and that. If I had the funds at that time, I wouldn't be there talking about this. I would be doing them. I would be like, listen, I created a thing and I want you guys to buy it, or I want you guys to partner with us. And instead of firing those people that you don't want to fire, you're gonna train them. We're gonna train them so that they can use our solution, and you're gonna use our IT solution for your system that we're gonna help you build into your thing, and you will pay us monthly for that service, millions. That's what I would have done. But listen, when you have, like me, too little time in a day to do all the things you think about, trust me, money would be happiness for me. More money would be happiness for me. And then some people think they need 100 million. I don't need all that. If I had 20 million, that would be cool. But if I had 200 million, I would have 100 million to build some crazy things. Trust me. Like, I would do solar farms. all these things I talk about, I will be like, yo, let me put 1 million in that. Let me put 5 million in that. You know, ideas would turn into finding the right people, and you would have assistant to interview people and try to build that. And I would do those shows where I would explain to you, hey, remember when I talk about this? I built it. You remember we talk about that drone, Yeah, I went to China and talked to engineers and blah, blah. And there you go. Here's the Shada 1. Like, that's what I would do with more money. I believe that money is not happiness for the people who, whenever they have a little bit of money, they just go crazy. The people who would just think that more money would be fast cars, hoes, and substances. For those people, yeah, money would be the direct path to destruction. But for somebody like me, don't come and tell me that money doesn't make happiness. I'll be like, that bullshit. That's some leftist bullshit. Let me read your comments and check out. Does this thing bite me? No, I don't think so. It's just me being let me see. You can't be rich if you do not understand money. Therefore, many lottery winners are miserable. Die miserable. Master Electronic, that was very smart. And I completely agree with you. I think money doesn't bring happiness, but give you access to many things. I think like I said, it really depends what type of person you are. Some people, they get famous, they go crazy. Some people, they get famous, they use it to open doors. Some people, they get famous, they use their fame to convey important messages about something that's going on in their country or to help other people. So all this depends. You give the same amount of money to 3 different person. The smart person will smartly think about what he can do with the money. The person who's empathic and wants to help will probably use 99% of that money to help other people, and the monkey will do what monkeys do, which burn it and do whatever. Money is power. It's a fact, but I think simple things, not material things, make you happy. If you have a huge house, 3 cars, but you're all alone, money can buy happiness. It depends. Maybe you like being alone. I mean, personally, I wouldn't live in a mansion by myself. I wouldn't even live in a mansion with my wife and 2 kids, because that's too big for us. A good 200-meter apartment, that's enough for me. Or maybe a duplex, kids upstairs, or me upstairs with parents and kids downstairs, like something maybe, and have a maid 24/7 for the kids. Like, just, I would do stuff that are useful. But yeah, I mean, you don't want to be like that person that has a huge house and he's alone, and so he has to pay people to be there. Nah, that's horrible. I have a close friend. What up, Emery? I have a close friend who have won millions of dollars but doesn't seem happy. Poor guy. It's possible. Listen, some people are not ready for money. Some people, and I think most of us believe we are ready. And when it comes, we realize that we're not happy because all of a sudden friends are different, or friends only call you when they need something. See what I mean? So of course you're gonna have to make sure that you protect yourself. Personally, if I made 200 million, nobody would know. No, I wouldn't tell nobody. Nobody. I would just tell people, hey, things are going fine. Nobody would know how much I have. I would just do the things I do. And if my wife asked me how we moving to this big house or this big apartment, I would just tell her, hey, listen, I've been working, things are good, and let's go. She wouldn't need to know how much money I have. But I would do all my contingency plans, make sure that, kids are set, etc., without screwing them too. Because sometimes you give too much money to people when they're too young, you fuck them up. So I think it's a question of mental, as everything, I guess. Money, what up, Kendrick? Money might not bring happiness, but it surely brings choices to do whatever you want. Y'all need to work for a job You hate to understand this. There you go. Everything that gives you peace of it, peace is the key for your happiness. Interesting. For me, if I can build a multi-million-dollar business or even win the lotto, it would be to give 80% to philanthropic causes. Microloans, building infrastructure, schools, hospitals, etc. Teaching and helping people to thrive would be my cause and goal. 100% making others happy. This is what brings me joy. Blessings to that. Yeah. The thing is this, personally, with 200 millions, I would probably use 10% for me. 20 million, that's more than enough to do everything I need to do. And put, after doing everything I need to do, put probably half of it on a side that generates money for me. Like I know how to do it with 10,000, so I would know how to do it with 10 million. And with the rest, listen, yeah, Congo in mind. And listen, I have people that I know that I could change just their perspective, and I would do that. I would even help other artists go out of the struggle, maybe create a big studio where artists could come and create stuff. I might do a big studio, like a big place where people could stream their things. Like, there's so many things, so many ideas. That would be beautiful to have a place where you can create those places that people can rent, etc., etc. So, yeah. As long as Idris stay with me, I'm happy. You could hire him to shoot a movie with you. Yeah, man. Listen, it's been 2 hours. I hope you enjoyed that conversation about the hot summer fires and does money bring happiness? I remember that every time people in French, to say money doesn't bring you happy, we say l'argent ne fait pas le bonheur. But I remember I'm not talking about not today, but I remember like when I was like 20 years ago, when people would say that, I would reply, l'argent ne fait pas le bonheur, mais il y contribue. If you have a stable mind, money will contribute to that happiness because you know what you're building, right? If you are like me and you know you have your goals, objectives, money is just a tool that you're going to use to further. If you can win 10 years in the things you have in your head because you have $1 million, it changes something. It just, look, I just made a lot of money from NFTs this year. I really had success with these 2 drops. I'm thankful for everybody who bought them. And I didn't buy anything special. I just not only made sure that this summer we would have a great holiday and rent a nice house for the whole family, and invested the rest of it. And I also have made sure that the tax I'm gonna pay, all that money is already on a side for this year. So no trouble with taxes. And I also made sure that the money for the rent is also in a separate bank account ready. So when it's time to pay my rent in September, I'm just gonna send to Hong Kong. That's in Hong Kong where my landlord is. I'll just send to Hong Kong my all 1 year of rent. And no stress. And when this is sent, I will not say to myself, oh, okay, now I gotta work now. Even after this is done, I'll be fine. So meaning that when I get my next royalties in August, all that money will not be to pay the rent, will not be to pay the taxes. That's amazing. So I got that money and I made a smart move. Listen, could have bought myself a whole Mercedes if I wanted. I made enough money, but what I did, I made enough money that I don't have to leave my house. I don't have to go do shows, so I can see my daughter every day. That to me is happiness. I made enough money that I don't have to go and perform. When I have a lot of people, they struggle, so they don't have a choice. They have to go perform and they have to accept prices that are horrible. I made enough that when people tell me, what do you do in life? I say, I do Club Shada. I talk to people on the internet. And this makes me happy and I can do it. And listen, we had 2 sponsors and I'm not stressed about sponsoring. I can just build this show slowly because, I made more money in 2 days that I would need to do shows for 2 years. And this changes the whole perspective. And it didn't change me. I didn't stop doing my shows. I didn't become lazy just because I have vision and I'm focused on what I want to do. So if you turn this money I made, you multiply it by 100, it would be the same thing for me. Instead of continue paying my rent, just go buy a house, and I would just go and take the next 6 months into turning it into what I need it to be. Like all the domotic, all these things, like I would make it exactly the type of house I want. And then, I would have my room when I could do my show, not in the living room. I could do my show in my office. I could do this, I could do that. I could even invest in other shows. I could say listen, I want Club Shada to be in different channels, like all the things you could fund other YouTube channels. You could fund other creators, younger people. You could do Club Shada in Spanish, Club Shada in French, Club Shada in this and that, like for different people. And you just funding everything, you own everything, and you can create an empire. Instead of having one YouTube channel, maybe you can have 20 of them. And you don't need to run everything by yourself. You can have a bunch of people that are running this whole company for you, and you just there. And then you use all these companies to synergize with your music, synergize with your different other brands, etc., etc. So once you have, once you have a vision, listen, money cannot bring you problems. Unless you go everywhere and tell people, hey, I made $10 million. Listen, the Congolese are gonna come from everywhere. Don't tell nobody, not even your mom. I was talking to my mom. She was like, would you tell me? I was like, no, mom, not you. No, hell no.